Hey there, Leo, and welcome to your October 2019 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. As I was tuning into your energy for this month, I was given a word, and as I sort of tuned in more, the message deepened. But the word that came through was lineage. So for some of you out there, there could be something coming in this month in October that really connects you to your lineage in a variety of ways. This could mean literally connecting more with your ancestors and healing ancestral trauma, looking at your relationships with older family members or people who've even passed on and healing some aspect of those relationships. There could be some karmic energy with that as well for some of you. I also was getting the impression that there could be something having to do with lineage in your career or in terms of your vocation, because I saw someone kind of holding like a stick of like wheat, like a almost like a blade of grass, but it was wheat, and the person kind of handed it to someone else. So something's being passed down to you, Leo, or you could, on the opposite end, you could be the one passing something along. It could be that you are receiving some kind of initiation if you are part of a spiritual group, or there could be some kind of rite of passage that you're going through in your career. For example, if you're a creator of any kind, you could work with a mentor who is passing down sacred knowledge. There could also be, like I said, an emphasis on working with ancestors and people whose energy and patterns you realize that you have carried over into this lifetime, and you're recognizing your ability and maybe even your responsibility to heal those patterns. So it's a very interesting energy coming through for Leos this month. There has a lot to do with like legacy and looking at what you want to pass on or what you want to receive. And there's like a chain or a network. There's like a theme of chain and network coming into your life. So this could mean also connecting with a community, a new community, for example, where you're going to be gaining something of value from this community, and you're also going to be contributing something of value to this community. So be open to that and explore new relationships this month. The other message that I was getting was just the word sacred. So I feel like there's also some kind of energy of sacredness coming in this month for you. You're going to possibly be either working with sacred tools, or you could be working with just memorabilia, like family heirlooms, because I was kind of seeing someone almost like the hands, like there's something about the hands and things being held in the hands that are sacred. So maybe pictures or an altar, maybe creating your own altar or reshaping your altar, rethinking your altar, or starting a new altar. There's something about sacred objects and sacred tools that is going to be really important for you this month, and that you're going to be connecting with sacred energy in a very physical way. So that's exciting. Let's take a look at your cards and we'll see what else wants to come through for you. Leo. Accurate guidance for Leos. Clear, loving, accurate guidance tarot for the Leos. Okay. I was seeing someone in front of like an old-fashioned typewriter. It almost seemed like someone from the 70s in a way. It kind of had that like a vintagey feel. So I don't know why that's coming through for you, Leo. Let's take a look at your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. Okay. So we've got the shark as the path and the beaver as the influence. Wow. Okay. The first thing that came through And this is starting to make sense with why I got that vision of the person in the like kind of 70s office looking place with the typewriter. Because as I turned both of these over and saw them, what I heard very, very clearly, and this is so specific, but I heard the phrase investigative journalism. So there's something about this energy with the shark of going deep. The shark card in this deck is all about exposing what is in the depths of a situation. It's about going right to the heart of the matter and bringing it up to the surface so that everybody can see it, for better or for worse, for for peace or not. Sometimes we need the truth to come out. Sometimes we need to expose something in order for a situation to heal. I mean, like Carl Jung has said, that healing begins once the correct diagnosis has been made. And that's really something that I could see so strongly as a theme with these cards, is that real healing can happen once the correct diagnosis has been made, once the truth has been understood internally, maybe within yourself, Leo, or maybe externally in a situation. For example, you could be feeling called to make a YouTube channel or a blog or a social media profile that brings awareness to some kind of sticky issue, something that people aren't talking about, something that needs to be acknowledged socially and in terms of your industry, or in terms of an industry that is very important to you or very close to your heart. It's almost like you want to draw awareness to something that needs to be seen, and it needs to be brought out either into the public light or perhaps in your personal life. Maybe you have some kind of thing with your family, like we had all of those messages coming through about healing ancestral trauma and working through patterns that you've inherited from like family members and ancestors, and long-standing things like that. Emotional patterns that you may have inherited from a parent or a caregiver or guardian of yours. This is about kind of recognizing the truth of those things and seeing them objectively for what they are, and recognizing maybe that they don't belong to you, but that you have this unique ability to heal them this month, maybe through your spiritual work, because we had all of those messages coming through about sacred tools and working with your own spiritual growth. There's something with the shark card as your path, that you are the exposer of the truth this month. You are a voice of light, a voice of truth, a voice of reason in a particular situation. That might mean that you have to say things that may feel to you like a little bit sharky or a little bit blunt, a little bit direct, and maybe that's not something that there are other people in the situation that would rather have things be couched in a more soft or kind of non-confrontational or less direct way, maybe even bordering on deception. You know, the softer that this narrative gets, I think this is like your feeling about it, Leo, is that the softer and more comfortable that you make other people feel about this, the less in service this narrative is to the truth. And I think that right now, you are in a position of caring about the brass tacks. You're in a position of caring about making sure that what needs to be honored and what needs to be accepted and what needs to be reborn is reborn. Like, that's your priority. You don't care so much about placating everyone else in the situation. You want a real healing to take place, and you know that the correct diagnosis is the only way for that to happen. So in what ways could this potentially be relevant for you? This is a theme that will kind of cross a lot of boundaries and expand into a lot of different areas of life, because this is a general reading. But just as an example that I can think of is, like, perhaps there is some kind of fundamental assumption that has been made in a family environment that nobody's going to talk about this thing that was very wrong that happened in the past, and everybody's hush-hush about it. And it could be like that for some reason that theme or a theme related to that event from the past is being brought up and activated right now by current events in the family, and you feel the need to speak out in protection of someone in the family, or you feel the need to draw conclusions verbally, and let people know what's actually going on, or let people know what you actually experienced, or what you actually are feeling and witnessing and perceiving. You're doing this, if this is relevant, you're doing it out of a pure commitment to the truth, clearly, because the shark and the beaver, these are not kind of they're not like pretty dress up the truth, put on airs cards. These are cards that get right to the heart of the matter. These are cards that get right to business. These are cards that are process driven and results oriented. And it's not going to be for you this month so much about making everybody feel pretty and comfortable and good. If you're a healer, for example, and you do healing work, consulting, with clients, or if you're a reader or a therapist or anything like that, you may be stepping into client situations this month where you have to be very grounded and practical in your advice and in what you say and in how you show up for your clients or your patients or whoever it is that you're treating. This is a theme that's going to come up, is like you're going to have the choice multiple times this month where you can say the truth in a loving and encouraging and resourceful way, or you're going to have the option to bow out and skip over it and not say something that is going to challenge the person, or not say something that might rock their boat a little bit in any way. So I'm not advocating for you to just be rude or let it all out and be harsh and critical or anything like that. And I know that you wouldn't, Leo, but it's more like this sense of you feel a responsibility this month to spread the word about something and draw and expose and draw up the shadow aspects of a situation. And it's going to be your task, I think, to do this in the most committed, friendly, loving way possible. So that's what I'm seeing. I hope that that's helpful. Let's go ahead and get some more insight into the events and the energies of this month with your tarot cards. So we've got 9 of Swords with the High Priestess, 7 of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, beautiful for you, Leo. Prince of Pentacles, Prince of Swords, 7 of Wands, and the Ferret, which is Temperance. Okay, so this is all very closely related, and I'm sure those of you who read your own tarot cards are already kind of smiling and nodding at this spread. Given everything that we've already seen, this is just very much related. You have a couple of 7s here, which do represent periods of assessment and really looking at like what you have at your disposal right now, how the energies are moving for you in a very kind of practical way. 7 is a transformational number, but it's a process number. It's about being in the middle of a process. And you have that theme showing up again with these 2 princes, which are both cards that indicate, again, process and movement. So as you go into October, it's almost like this month represents a continuation of a process that you've already been in, but maybe it's deepening, or maybe it's going through kind of like the healing part of that cycle, because you start off with the 9 of Swords, which is not a fun card. It can indicate that some of you are going into the month of October worrying a lot about something either that you have to do in the future, or you're fretting about something that happened in the past. But either way, you're not in the present. And that's really what the 9 of Swords is telling me as I'm looking at this, is this person is rightfully so upset, rightfully so maybe disappointed with something, or rightfully so kind of feeling some sort of pressure. But they're reacting to that by maybe falling back a little bit on their self-care, because they're mentally always caught up in thinking about this event or this thing that they don't have control over. And all of that mental energy is kind of going into something that's disempowering. And then as a result, it feels like a little bit of the self-care is kind of falling off a little bit. And so it's time to kind of reel that back in. I do see you undergoing like a moment of clarity though, and healing with the High Priestess. So you start with the Nine of Swords, and then the High Priestess comes in, and it's like you go from worrying about something that has been bothering you to, wow, all of a sudden you feel empowered again. You feel kind of like there's this moment of silence. And for some of you, that could actually be like a moment of meditation. Maybe you do a guided meditation, or you have a moment to yourself where you light a candle with like the High Priestess, or maybe you journal at some point in the first week or so of October, and all of this emotional and mental energy just releases completely, and you feel at peace again. You feel connected to the universe. You feel like you're connected back to your power source again. So if you are a Leo who's been starting the month feeling a little down or like a little bit anxious, I just want to confirm for you that, you know, it's probably normal that you're experiencing that. You're not alone. There are other Leos who are going through this, but you are going to have that moment of reconnection with Source. You are going to have that moment of being able to shed all of that anxiety and that frustration. And that will come in a very private way because it's the High Priestess. So it's like a healing moment that you have with yourself. As the High Priestess represents the inner world. So with the Seven of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands, in this deck, the Druid Craft Tarot, the Seven of Pentacles really represents like the theme of harvest to me. So as I'm looking at this for you, it's like with the Queen of Wands there's some kind of sovereignty that's coming through. There's some kind of like accessing of your personal power in a given situation in your life where you feel empowered, and then at the same time you are like cutting something off or harvesting something or taking something for yourself. So this could be going on in the middle of the month. You might be like separating the wheat from the chaff, especially because you had that wheat symbolism coming up in the meditation at the beginning of the reading. There could be like this moment of harvest where you're kind of separating what isn't serving you from what is, and kind of clearly defining that. So that may look for some of you like stopping participating in a particular social group because you're feeling like it's been sucking up a little bit of your energy and your personal power, and you're just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to wave my wand here. I'm going to get my sickle and I'm just going to chop this off because I've taken what I can get from it. Now it's time to harvest and reap the rewards and continue my work on my own. So there's like a emphasis on an independence, like regaining some kind of independence in the process of cutting off something from your past. So that's what we're seeing kind of around the middle of the month. With the Prince of Pentacles and the Prince of Swords, both of these cards are princes, like I said before, which are the knights, if you're more in the kind of Rider-Waite-Smith symbology. These are the knights. And the Prince of Pentacles and the Prince of Swords are kind of like two very different personalities. The Prince of Swords is very much kind of directed, and he's quick moving, he's abrupt, he wants to get things done, he wants to say things as soon as he gets something in his mind, like he's going to go there right away. He's just very much kind of like driven. Wherever his mind is taking him, he's going to go. And he can sometimes, because of that, he is a strategic knight, but he's more kind of slapdash, a little bit more slapdash with his strategy than, for example, the Knight of Pentacles, which that's a very strategic knight as well, but he will kind of plan things ahead and be very strategic in order to take small steps, and he'll be really cautious about every step he takes. So as I'm describing these dynamics, I'm wondering if there is like two personalities around you in your life. One of these could be you and the other one could be someone else. These could be two sides of yourself. Like there's a part of you that's like, I just want to rush into something and I want to make a change right now and that's just what I want to do. And then there's another side of you that's like, wait, be conservative, think this through. This may not be the best decision. Either way, there's a sense of like a clash of approaches, whether this is two people outside of you or one of them is you and the other is someone else, or there are two approaches within you. There's a clash of wills, essentially. And what I'm getting from this is that it's important for you to find a balance in your approach. Like you don't want to be holding yourself back too much. With the Prince of Pentacles, you don't want to be like hiding. But at the same time, you also don't want to necessarily rush into things without thinking about them first. And I feel like there's going to be like some questioning around that in the middle of the month. This, interestingly, is, I'm just thinking of your astrology. So for you, the full moon in Aries on October 13th is in your 9th house of travel and like international travel as well, also religious matters. So there could be some, like, because these are cards of motion, there could be some questions about going on a trip or maybe planning a trip or thinking about a trip or something like that that is stirring up, like, should I throw caution to the wind and just go for it, or should I be conservative? Like, what do I need to know before I make this decision? You could potentially get a reading from someone on this, or you may do a reading for yourself, or just connect, with your own guides through journaling or meditation, and really find your unique and balanced approach to this situation that you're gonna pursue it. But I feel like it's the manner in which you pursue it that you're kind of not sure about. But you will get that answer because you have the Ferilt, which is the Temperance card at the end of the month, and you also have the Seven of Wands coming up before that. So there's that other seven. But the Temperance card is temperance is a virtue. It's the virtue of patience and trust and the willingness to recognize that, like, the integration of lessons and wisdom is a process. Like, the Temperance card is a card of being willing to relay information between your outer world and your inner world. It's a process of being willing to notice psychic messages, symbolic intuitions, and as well practical desires and responsibilities and burdens too. Like, Temperance is the card where we find peace integrating all of those things so that our spiritual life and our emotional life and our physical needs in life are able to kind of coexist in harmony and not feeling like any of those parts of our life experience are being shut out or kept separate. With Temperance and the Seven of Wands, it's like you are learning to incorporate maybe the sometimes seemingly nonsensical wisdom of your dreams and recording them regularly, even though they're ridiculous sometimes, but learning that it's okay to, like, embrace that on a daily basis and still make your car payments on time, or still balance your spending and, like, your profits every month. Like, it's about finding the connection in a practical way between seemingly disparate sides of yourself and really being able to draw all of those things in so that your intuition and your personal spiritual practice informs your work life and even how you drive, like you're listening to your intuition and your gut instincts while you're driving or while you're balancing your checkbook or while you're doing something like that. And then at the same time, your, like, practical life skills and your self-care, like your physical self-care and the things you do to take care of your body, also fit in and support your spiritual practice and the intangible things that are important to you. So it's like an integration that we're seeing. And the Seven of Wands, I think too, is kind of like creating that boundary so that you can have sacred space. Like I almost see you kind of doing some kind of ritual or meditation or art, like working on your art, working on writing a book, working on a painting, or even, like I said, doing magical rituals as well, if that's something that you're drawn to. But the Seven of Wands is like protecting that. It's like creating a barrier so that you can have sacred space. And all of this, again, leads to the integration. So the integration of like practical life lessons that you've learned, life skills that you have, and then as well your spiritual side and your symbolic relationship to life. I feel like all of those things can find kind of like a happy place for you this month. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like it's really important for you to have time to yourself, though, with the Seven of Wands and the Temperance. So at the end of the month of October, definitely set aside time for your own spirituality, Leo. We have Believe coming up. So that's freaking gorgeous. I love that message. This is like connected to the Queen of Wands for you because this is your card. Well, it's a fire court, so it's obviously relating to your energy. This is saying believe not only in yourself, definitely believe in yourself, but believe that the universe is working in mysterious ways in your life, and believe the synchronicities and the omens and the signs and the things that tell you that you're doing well, you know, and that you're on the right track, or that you are at least conscious and connected to your spirit. Like, I feel like these things are what you need to believe right now, Leo. We have the Deceit card coming up from the Energy Oracle. So I feel like coming off the back of the Believe card, it's saying that if you're putting your trust and faith in anything outside of yourself, or in anything that's overly anything that is potentially wanting to not control your energy, but like influence you. I feel like the Deceit card is coming up to remind you that it's really important for you to tune into yourself before you make any decisions, and make sure that any decisions that you make are actually in your best interest and that you're not being unduly influenced. I'm feeling this more as like influence rather than straight up deceit, although because this card came up, there could be a couple of you who experienced someone trying to deceive you. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It could happen. But for many of you, I'm picking this up as like not necessarily deceit, but someone trying to influence you, someone trying to kind of point you or angle you in a particular direction, and you're not having it. Like, you're aware of it, you can sense it, you know it, and I feel like that's something that is part of your growth at this time, to really set clearer boundaries so that that influence can't come in, so that you can focus on building up your magic, your personal energy, your personal wisdom. You can build that up in a space that's sacred and special for you. Again, this also seems to hint back to that message of the healing, like family trauma or healing patterns from your ancestors. There could be like deceit in a situation like that, where you remember, I was saying you're an agent of truth here. You're trying to expose something. So some of you could be dealing with some forces. Wow, I was just going to call in like a guiding card, or like the energy of a helper for you. And we get Healer of the Ages. So you are protected, Leo, if you are dealing with any kind of heavier energies around like family stuff, or maybe even deception in a work environment. Like if you work for a corporation where there's some not so great kind of ethical boundary crossing that's going on. The cards are saying that the universe does have your back in that situation, and that you can call on like your healing guides or call on like the power of healing. That's something that I'll do even just if I'm out and about and I feel all of a sudden like I'm being affected by someone's energy because I'm very empathic. I'll just really quietly to myself say, or even just, repeat in my mind this mantra of like, I'm calling on the power of healing. I'm calling on the power of healing. I call on the power of healing now to come in and heal me and release any negative or blockage type energy that's in my fields. And you'll be amazed just saying, I call on the power of healing. I call on the power of healing 3 times, you will connect with the power of healing in a very archetypal, broad, energetic way. You're calling in the raw power of healing to support you and to clear your field and to uplift you. Whatever you need, that's what the power of healing is going to give you. So no matter what kind of guides you work with, or if you believe in guides, or if you believe in God, or whatever your beliefs are, you can call on specifically just the vibration of healing and bring that in to your experience, no matter what your, background is, or no matter what your kind of verbiage is about spiritual things. So it's very non-denominational, but I feel like this is important. It's important for you to call on the power of healing. It's important for you to recognize that you may be feeling called to a position of responsibility to speak the truth in a situation, and it's important to really believe in yourself in that process and create sacred space in which you can build your own kind of sacred and spiritual energy and uplift yourself. I feel like that's really important for you, Leo. But overall, I feel like this is a very empowering month, interestingly, and there could be some themes about travel as well, or culminations of travel, since you have that full moon in your 9th house. So I'm sending you so much love and gratitude. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe and notify yourself of notifications by hitting the little bell. All of those things really help my channel, and they really help me to know that these readings are helpful to you, and it really is something that just brings a lot of light into my day when I hear from you guys as well in the comments. So please share this video, comment, like, show me some love. I would love to hear from you, and I hope that this reading is helpful to you in some way. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I'll put all the information on that below. The 2020 reading bookings are now available, so if you want to have me take a look at your transits or your tarot cards month by month through 2020, I will put that information below the video. And if you'd like to personally work with me throughout the month of October, I will be doing the Witches New Year Tarot Challenge throughout the whole month, chatting with you guys over on Instagram, so I'll put that below. Sending you so much love, Leo. Mwah. Talk to you later, and have a great month. Bye!